Hi, hello. Well, we're ready
Hi.
now for our next session. And our next session is using tourism as a force for good. And I got with me today three wonderful people. I've got Anna Alaman, Tom Armitt, and Crista Buznea. If I can just ask you to very quickly introduce yourselves to everybody. Anna, can we start with yourself, please?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Anna, and I'm coming from I came from marketing and the business management background, but I can say that my life changed when I connect with the concept of social business, and then social business brought me to responsible tourism when I combine business and social impact. Then I went to India, and then I founded a responsible tourism company. It's called Open Eyes, and we have been here since 2011.
Tom, you next, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Armitt, and I'm currently working in Benin, which is in West Africa, as tourism and business development manager for a national park. And that's part of a network of national parks across the African continent that are managed by African Parks Network. So it's a big continent-wide NGO. I went through quite a long process to get to that point. Mainly was very self-driven. I knew that from university I wanted to work in responsible and sustainable tourism, having spent a year volunteering in Senegal, also in West Africa, and I've always been connected to West Africa throughout my career. And then a process of networking and getting volunteering experiences, and really developing my experience, my knowledge, and through that my reputation. I managed to get a paid job a few years ago doing the work that I'm really passionate about. And it was a long journey, but because I had a set goal, I got there in the end. So there we go.
Wow, that's really interesting. And Crista, what about yourself, please?
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So I'm Crista Buznea. I think, as many of you, I'm actually going through a new phase in my career where I'm about to press the reset button. So over the past year and a half, I've been at Heathrow in their sustainability team as a sustainability campaign and project manager. And as part of this whole situation that we're in right now, my role is not part of the new structure. So I'm at risk of redundancy, and I'm looking to pivot into doing sustainability storytelling consultancy. But like Tom and Anna, I've also had a very long history in the field of tourism. I always wanted to work in travel and tourism, studied it in college, came from Romania to the UK when I was 18 to study tourism management at university, then worked in hospitality, then in marketing at Holiday Extras as a marketing manager. And then I fell in love with sustainability and studied the responsible tourism masters at Manchester with Harold Goodwin, and wanted to work in this field. And I had the opportunity to start working in sustainability a couple of years ago with TUI in sustainability marketing. So that was the birth of it. But now I feel like I've taken a leap and not quite landed yet into the world of consultancy. So it's really exciting to be able to tell sustainability stories during this time. So exciting times.
Well, Crista, that was really interesting. And actually, I noticed you use the phrases there that you've not quite landed yet, which actually does bring us quite nicely to this, because I am conscious that we've got many sessions today. But this is one of the sessions that if I'm being honest, we had pre-recorded a couple of days earlier, mainly because rather than people landing, we have now got people departing, because obviously there's at least two of you that are literally just ready to get onto aircraft. Tom, you're just about to fly somewhere, aren't you?
Yeah, on Wednesday I'm about to go to Benin to get back to work. Been stuck in the UK for the past 3.5 months because of COVID-19. So
yeah. And
Anna, I'm looking forward to going back.
Oh, that's good. And Anna, you're just about to fly as well, I believe.
Yes, after now, I mean, after this session, I'm going straight to the airport. I'm going back to Spain. So I live in India since 9 years ago, but I spent this COVID here in India, and now I feel it's the time to come back home. And I'm taking an evacuation flight. Yes, and I will be there for a few months, and then I will come back. I also need time to regenerate. I mean, I think this has been an earthquake for all of us. And I need also to be a little bit calm to really think and strategize again with the company and see all these opportunities that also bring us.
So it just shows you that we are really truly in an international industry, and today is very reflective of that. In your sort of introductions, there was a word that sort of at least two of you mentioned there, and one of them was that sort of volunteering was something that was important. We are seeing in this COVID times that we're in that sort of a lot of people are unable to do their roles they're supposed to be doing, and the jobs that they were doing pre-COVID cannot be completed. And volunteering is something that's come across as a really important part of moving forward post-COVID. Crista, I mean, I think volunteering was something that you said was very important to you.
Yeah, it has been for many, many years. And actually, it really helped me in the last couple of months wake me up. Because as many other people, I started baking and the paint by numbers and the sourdough, and I went through all of those phases and up and down and up and down. And at one point I said to myself, it's time to recenter. What are the moments in the last 5 years in my life where I felt like I've given and I felt like my passions came out? And I created a folder on my iPhone and literally added in all of those experiences. And so many of them were about volunteering. I had volunteered in food banks, or I had volunteered in the Cowley refugee camp, or I had gone litter picking. And I was able to collate all of those experiences into a place where I actually was able to say to myself, there's so much that I can tell to the world and engage the world about what I've done. It's not just about my CV. Look at all of these other things that I've done. So I took all of those and built my website, and that was able to tell all of the things that I had done. And I was able to kind of harness my why. What is it that I'm passionate about? And that then spurred me on to do even more volunteering work. And for example, I got in touch with my local food bank, and they said, oh, sorry, we had too many requests, we're okay during this time. But then I was able to say to them, what can I come over and film what you do? Because I know you're missing some products in stock. So what if I tell the story of what you're missing? Can I help you in another way? And I think there's a real appetite during this time for people to give. When they're suffering, when people are suffering and they're down and they're lost, they want to give. It's a bit of a paradox. But you can really use that to then build your portfolio and who you are and your persona even more.
Yeah. Well, I must have known in a previous role that I've done, I have worked with organisations, the RSPB being one, where sort of volunteers is a very critical part of how the business works. Is volunteering, Tom, with sort of a national park, is there volunteers within your organisation? Is it something that sort of involves the daily working and is a key part of yours, or is it something that hasn't really fitted in yet?
I mean, African Park started taking over the management of Pendjari about 2 years ago. So what we're doing currently is just building up the tourism product to a level of quality that we feel represents our professionalism. And it's only in the next few years that we're going to go into the volunteering. We're trying to get things to work now. And then after that, once we have built up the capacity to be able to look after a volunteership program, for example, then we'll implement it. But from my standpoint, volunteering has been a really, really important part of my career path. I haven't come from a tourism background. I did marketing and French at university. But then once I went and had some experience of what tourism can do to improve the lives of other people in other destinations, I really felt that it was something I wanted to work in. And in order to be able to work in that field, I needed to get the experience, and I needed to get the competitive advantage over some people who may have more experience academically in tourism. So it gave me the field experience, one, and through the process, it also allowed me to grow professionally and personally by really challenging my perceptions and pushing me out of my comfort zone. And I think those were really invaluable experiences for me personally, but also I think transpired into invaluable experiences for companies that I was applying to work for. Yeah. And also, Crista mentioned storytelling. Through volunteering experiences, you amass so many stories that you can then share with other people to share your passion for the work that you're doing. But also, when in an interview, when you are asked those, key interview questions, it's just not a standard answer you can give, because you have so many stories to give. And as Crista mentioned, storytelling is everything. And also, I think finally for me, it enabled me to find my passion and to really know what I wanted to do in my career. But on the other hand, it could also make you realize what you don't want to do. And it could be, the opposite. So it's very useful when looking for the right job in the future, and to kind of focus you on what you want to do, so you don't end up in a job that you're just happy to do because it pays the bills, but you're actually doing it because you feel purpose when you're doing it.
Yeah, they're great, and it is good, because volunteering, you do learn new skills, and it does give you the opportunity that if you don't have that practical background and experience, at least you can say, hey, I've tried this, I've given it a go, and it's the first step in trying to move into new areas. You mentioned their responsibilities, Thomas, so I'm now going to come through to Anna, because I think this leads into sort of world responsibilities, and sustainability is all about social enterprise, which I think is a great sort of, all these products are sort of leads us into, where do we go next with this? I think that's really important. What do you think?
Well, as I said in the introduction, my life changed 10 years ago when I discovered the concept of social businesses. For me, the idea of creating an organization not based in a charity model, but in a business model behind, and which definitely I totally believe it can change the market itself. So that was my passion. In fact, I came to India just to build up and to found a social business in tourism. So, and here still I am, and I'm also teaching the concept of social businesses in tourism. I do truly believe that the power that organizations that not only believe on for-profit, but also to create that impact, and that is the mission, the driving mission of that organization. And 10 years ago, maybe social businesses, they were utopia, something that unrealistic, that doesn't exist, that not sustaining on the time. Now it's not longer there. There are thousands of millions of cases of social enterprises in tourism that we are there, we are creating that impact, we sustain ourselves, we have salaries, we have team, we create that impact. And for example, for us, our impact has been always how we can train more women in India to be part of our experiences. Tourism is a very male-dominated industry in India itself. Guiding, for example, is one. So we have been doing those training the last 6 years, and creating that market space, that product development and market space between vulnerable women and the tourism industry, and it's possible. Social businesses are a reality, definitely.
Oh, it's definitely, and I think there is huge opportunities going forward, which actually does sort of bring me quite nicely to, when you think about the opportunities going forward, there's obviously going to be new skills needed. There's got to be new disciplines that's needed. We're talking about disciplines using the Zooms. To take these to the next steps, where do you think we should go? Crista, what sort of new skills can you see that people need for the new normal of tourism?
I think there are a few things that I think are really important during this time, and I've struggled with them myself. I think allowing yourself to be as creative as you possibly can, and also being willing to adapt, because this whole period is about adapting. And the people and the businesses and the companies that I've seen really go through this period and making good changes were able to, have a few down days or weeks or months in my case, and then very quickly say, okay, turn the page over. This is how we're going to do things. We used to be an Airbnb. Now we do this instead. We used to do business in this whole way, and we used to have live meetings. We're going to do them online. So it's just about being being adaptable to the situation and creative. Because personally, for me, I used to always be, I used to represent corporations, and I used to be behind the camera personally, and shine the light in terms of sustainability story from behind the camera. And then I always said to myself, I'm never gonna film things. I'm not a videographer. Here I am going outside, filming things to tell these sustainability stories. And then 2 weeks ago, I was like, no, I'm not gonna put my face on camera. That's not who I am. And here I am now putting my face, on a camera. So it's just about it. You struggle with yourself a little bit, and it's uncomfortable, but it's so rewarding when you do it. And you're like, it wasn't so bad after all. So it's about being creative and adapting, trying to adapt as quickly as possible.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think we all are learning to adapt. I think there's circumstances that none of us would have thought we would have been in, but now we're in them. And I think everyone is coping really well. Thomas, you mentioned that sort of as a business, this is a start of a new journey, and there's things that's got to come through. What sort of new skills and new disciplines would be important to yourselves and to your organisation?
I think something that we've learned during this current crisis is the need for more attention to be given to crisis management. A lot of people, if you've looked online, there's been so many people giving their advice on how to weather this crisis as a tourism business, both from, let's say, a big business point of view to a small, medium enterprise point of view. And I think that there's a big journey to make still in how you can create a crisis management system that can encompass not just the big business, but also take into consideration the small to medium enterprises, especially in developing countries who rely so much on tourism for their livelihoods and have been kind of going along that way for the past decade or 20, 25 years for some countries. I think it's about finding a way to create resilience for tourism destinations, enabling stakeholders to acquire the knowledge and skills to survive a crisis. I think that that's really something that needs to be thought of a little bit more and kind of adapted as well to the different destinations, because you can't just have a one size fits all. I think that there needs to be some kind of contextual adaptability to that. And also I think that there's a bit more of an emphasis on how tourism can work for the benefit of the many rather than for the few, as it has been for the past 50 years. And being aware of the impacts of tourism on the social, economic and environmental makeup of the destinations, and seeing how we can maximize the positive impacts and minimize the negative impacts of tourism, and really seeing it as an opportunity to not just go on holiday, but go on holiday with a purpose to benefit the destinations that we go to.
Oh, great. You know, I could sit and talk to the three of you all day. I am conscious that we've got a whole day and I don't want to overrun for some of our other panelists. So I'm going to very quickly just give a very quick hand question to all three of you, because I'm following on from something you said there, Thomas, that you're on about sort of crisis management, and we should all be looking for ways to adapt and to all these changes. But the COVID-19 crisis won't last forever. There will be a period where we'll come through this, and COVID will be in the past. So what opportunities are going to be out there for real change in this industry about adapting and resilience? What are the sort of the opportunities that we've got post COVID-19? Anna, if I come to you first, please.
So let me highlight, I wanted to say that maybe the COVID will pass away, but I'm sure that another crisis will come. So this is the evolution. This is the world lives in that way. So we really need to adapt, not only for COVID, also to be prepared for different crises that will come. And I believe that we really need to move forward that vision in a positive way. Yeah, but we really have to do it. And I think that opportunities is to create companies that are more solid. We have seen that a lot of companies in tourism, they're depending on only one product or one service, only one market. Diversity in products is now a kind of big opportunity for us to really be more resilient if another crisis happens. I do believe that tourism is not an industry, it's a network of people, a network of industries. So there is art and craft, there is gastronomy there is a lot of sectors that we could also make it stronger and make sure that also communities, they are not depending also only in tourism, as Thomas has said. So there is a big opportunity there.
That's interesting. And Crista, I mean, where can you see where the opportunities will be?
Oh, there's so many when it comes to responsible tourism. So first and foremost, over tourism, huge issue in the past. I really believe now, because of social distancing, this is a key opportunity to use technology and to actually put caps on visitor numbers. I think that's something that we could fix during this time. Secondly, the take-up of sustainable aviation fuels. Sustainable aviation fuels technology has existed since the 1950s. There are 5% of the planes in the sky now that we had 5 months ago. Now's the time to invest in those technology to have a green recovery when it comes to aircraft. And thirdly, we now have the opportunity to connect with our own countries, and local tourism, domestic tourism, I think is going to be really big in the next couple of days. We've wanted to explore outside of our borders, and that's completely understandable, but now's the time to reconnect with what we have in our own back garden. And I think that's really exciting for us to be able to rediscover who we are intrinsically and our heritage.
Yes, it is good that we learn more about the countries we live in, but it's strange. There are still so many people who don't perceive a holiday unless it involves getting on a plane and flying halfway around the planet. But you're right, there's some wonderful things on all our doorsteps, in whatever country we're in. Thomas, what opportunities can you see out there post-COVID-19?
I think that the new sense of global community and interconnectedness that COVID-19 has created, it can really be used post-crisis to create more of an awareness about how tourism can be used as a tool to build positive relationships, dispel preconceived false perceptions about different people and places, and also, as we've just mentioned, promote resilience in communities that have historically depended on tourism for their livelihoods. So I think that there's an opportunity for us to see tourism not just as an end goal, but instead to see it as a way of creating a better, more understanding and just global society.
Right, well, that is great. Seriously, I think our session has flown by. It's been a blink of an eyelid, and I know we've got to the end. We could carry this on all day, but I think, can I just, on behalf of everybody today that's watching, can I thank the three of you for your time today, and safe journeys on your travels. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.